DNA and RNA structure, but we're going to do this game. We're going to make two teams. 1, 2, Ria. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Right, it's a bit of a mixed game, but it's like Trivial Pursuit. So we've got the board, it's a board game. On the board is the track that you have to go through. Here's the dice. Dice will be left on my table. We're going to make the two teams on either side of the room. And then, the rules of the game. You work in two teams. Per team, you're allowed one computer for yellow, blue, or second stage pink questions. Also, we'll have 2 timers running. You get 5 minutes of computer time to finish off the game, if you need it. If you want to buy more time, you need to go back 5 places on the board for 1 extra minute. There's 4 categories. Yellow is a multiple choice question, which I want to do. Yeah. If you don't know the answer, you are allowed to use computer time to look it up on the computer. But it will go off your 5 minutes. The blue questions are a Pictionary, so I'll give you a task to draw something. You might have to look it up on your computer before you draw it. We draw it on the whiteboard at the back, and it needs to be perfect before you can gain your point and move on. Green is a game of categories or charade. So you get a word to describe, but you cannot use words that are underneath. Whoever is doing it will come to my computer to see what word it is and what word you can't use. And pink is a word worm, which means that I'm going to give you a worm and you've got to perfectly spell it. Once you've spelled it, you have to define it. So it might be what you know, it might not be what you know. So for the second half of this question, you may use your computer, look up the definition. If your definition is correct, you can move the same number of eyes as was on your dice before you got there. Any questions? Okay. Can we split into our teams? To determine which team will start, I put the chalk in my hand. And Eric, left or right?
Right.
Right is empty. Start. Okay, so one of you will have to come and throw the dice. One of your team.
I got this.
You got it. Two. So you're ending up on a yellow question. Team number 1. Multiple choice question. Sorry, not to.
That's good.
Yeah. Okay, first yellow question. Are you using your... Are you going to answer? You're going to look it up?
I think we'll answer.
Okay?
Mr. Tracy, I have a question. If they get it wrong, do we get a chance to answer their question?
No, we'll keep it in the game. Okay? So keep thinking about it, left and right. Three, two, one. C. Guanine. Yes, that's right. Okay, come for the dice.
Oh, actually. You go.
Oh, sorry, George.
No.
Ay. 3. 1, 2, 3. Blue question.
If you put
Blue question. You need to draw on the blackboard the chemical structure of an adenine. You get 2 minutes. If you need to use your computer, you can, but it will go over your 5 minutes.
Can we please use our computer?
Yes.
Okay.
Starting now. Can I use one of your phones as a watch for you?
Let's go, guys. Wait, we should get another marker and do two at the same time.
Why?
Then we'll just be up. So,
It includes drawing. Yes, the computer's still open. Oh.
so can you do this bottom bit, yeah? Oh, this end is that end. This end is that end.
We're done.
We're done.
Done. Good. Time to throw the dice. Come on, it's a game.
Okay. Oh, sure, I think we should do it.
Okay. 6, 4.
Close.
1, 2, 3, 4. Number 1. We're going to give you guys a chance regardless of whether they pass this question or not. What color? Pink. Spelling bee. Who's the spelling bee?
Yeah, we got this one.
Who's the spelling bee? Who's going to spell?
Someone.
3, 2, 1.
Someone.
DNA polymerase. No, you're not coming here.
DNA space POLYMERASE.
Yes. Give me a definition.
Well, is it an enzyme that helps break DNA?
We'll keep the question in.
We get half a point,
We'll
right?
keep the question in.
Do we even
Team
do points?
2.
We just look up.
One. Blue question. Blue question.
Those are the sides of it.
Draw the structure of a guanine on the board at the back. Please can we label that with an A?
Guys, I think we might need to. Do we use a computer?
Do we need a computer?
I would
Yes.
suggest.
Which one are we doing again?
Guanine. Your stop. Can somebody start a stopwatch? Use your phone. Just when it's
No, wait.
We'll
Isn't
start
it the
stopwatch.
same as that? Yeah, it's exactly the same.
No.
That's
I
Emily.
actually know I didn't
We
know.
use stopwatch.
There you go.
Okay.
Stopwatch.
Okay, computer is open. When the computer closes, that is when we
We just like look it up.
stop the timer.
Yeah, it is the same.
It's not broken.
It's a. It has different.
What was right there? Okay.
How many
Guys,
seconds do we have?
people start.
They have a total of 5 minutes. We're counting up to 5 minutes. And the computer closes is when the timer stops.
Where's another marker? Is there another
35
marker?
seconds.
What do you mean? There it is. You mean?
Move this out of the way.
Almost 1 minute. One minute.
Okay, done.
Close the computer. All right. Stop the timer.
1 minute and 2 seconds.
Good. So we
Thank you,
just restart it. Gone through this question already. Just to recap, we're just going to go through some of the questions because some have not been answered yet. Nitrogenous base. So the actual letter that's on the DNA, that's replicated, right? In DNA and RNA, we have different letters. What are letters for DNA?
A, G, C, G.
Standing for,
Amino acids and thymine.
yes. And in mRNA, Ahana. What are the letters that we use? Or the names? Maybe you know the names. No, James?
I think we have A, G. I know we have U. And
I think T as well.
Who wants to do that?
all of them. It's all of them except
All of them
that's U.
Except adenine. It's GCTU.
GCTU. Okay, now we're pairing. In DNA, we're pairing A against what? Who paired A against G? Good. AT, right? C, what's left over for C in DNA? G. C and G is a pair, A and T is a pair. However, if we're making RNA, we just said we don't have, what one don't we have?
Adenine.
Adenine. So instead of adenine, you would use a uracil. So what is uracil paired with? With the T. Right. The strands run anti-parallel, which means we'll go into more details of the actual structure in the next lesson. But the backbone of DNA is made out of, you draw some of it, nucleotides, and the nucleotide is built up of what? Yeah, phosphate. Phosphate, a nitrogen, yeah, the base, the nitrogen is base, and the sugar. Okay, so they run, if you look at the structure, they run from 5 to 3 prime and from 3 to 5 prime, which means they are like, when you have the sugar, phosphor, the base is on there, sugar, phosphor, sugar, phosphor, sugar, phosphor. On the other side it will be sugar, phosphor, sugar, phosphor, sugar, phosphor. Just in the opposite, like a mirror. Nucleotides, very well, we just talked about that, composed of the sugar, the phosphate, and the nitrogenous base. And the strands are held together by hydrogen bond. Which molecule is found both in DNA and RNA? Joel.
Is it an amino acid?
Is an amino acid in DNA? What is an amino acid? It's the basis of the basic block. What do you build with amino acids?
Protein.
Proteins. We're talking about DNA and RNA. What do you know is the difference between DNA and RNA? Who can help out? James?
Like the answer,
No, what's the difference? What differences are there
so I
between
think,
DNA and RNA?
I think DNA is, so it doesn't have uracil.
Okay,
That's
so
good.
DNA doesn't have uracil, so that answers out, right? Amino acids are building proteins. So you now have a chance between ribose and phosphate. Do you know what the abbreviation of DNA stands for? What's the D for? Right?
Is it a phosphate?
You're asking Joel, what's the D in DNA stand for? Deoxyribose, right? So not ribose. Okay, so
it's not right.
no, it's not ribose because that comes from RNA, right? So the phosphate is the common link in those backbones from the DNA and RNA, right? That phosphate link is always there. So the DNA uses a different sugar. Uracil is a base that's only used in mRNA or RNA and not in DNA. And amino acids are used to build proteins. So your only possible answer, if you don't know your answer straight away, start eliminating. Same as in your tests. What can it really not be? 1 out of 4 is a smaller chance of 1 out of 2, right? So if we can narrow it down. These were some of the words, just to see what your friends were up to. Nucleotide, without describing DNA, unit, phosphoribose. Okay, so nucleotide is the whole unit of the ribose with the phosphate and base.
Don't worry, it's
There we go. Now it's happening.
Did you make the full screen?
Yes, because it's just like 1 inch bigger.
Oh, yes.
Guys, this is in your syllabus. If he doesn't want you to know it, it's not my problem.
Oh my god.
Oh!
That was a good stuff.
Oh god.
I misclicked.
Rebellion!
Oh my
Rebellion!
Oh.
What's the term for the subunits that make up DNA? You're being fast!
Who's that?
Proteins! You misclicked. Alright. Second chance. We're all for second chances here. Sugar, DNA. It's right there in front of you. Put it on the board. Guys, DNA's got ribose.
Looks like, oh my god.
Sorry. RNA's got ribose. DNA's got? Oh, I love this first position.
Yeah.
Agatha Christie is going well. Which of the nitrogen bases are classified as purine?
Who's Albert? Me.
We know this one. Sorry, take your fame away.
Really think about this one, really.
I really love that.
100%.
Somebody's still thinking. Okay, so the 70% that's left over is divided between 2 bases. You heard about the other ones just now, so you should know that this is the other type. So the purine has a double ring, as in the back, the A and the G, and the pyrimidine has a single ring. That will come back when we talk about the translation. Now this one you can do when you wake up at night. Thymine is paired with what? It's RNA.
I actually grew up with this disability.
Oh my god. Why?
Then you're close, guys. You're talking RNA.
Oh my god. Why? I knew that.
Both of us.
What's the break still on top? The last question.
Doesn't look like randomly.
Double helixes.
Dude, why?
X-ray.
You guys are actually just guessing though.
We
That was a guess.
will look at it. We will look at it.
It's an educator.
What's an encrypt? Well done. And that's a duo at the back. Well done.
Who's Watson and Crick?
Because they were together.
I'm watching.